click on this one, I believe, so I can start our slides. Okay, so we're going to break this seminar into kind of 6 sections. We're going to do Hormones 101. And if you gals all survive the clinical stuff on these first 3 slides, we're golden. The rest will be interesting and fun, and we'll be able to laugh and talk some. We're going to talk about symptoms related to hormonal imbalance, options for balancing your hormone, adrenal fatigue and how cortisol is related to all the other hormones, a bit on hormone testing, and some actual action steps where you can get some takeaways on what you're going to do tomorrow to work on your health. So here's Hormones 101. The primary female sex hormones, we're going to talk about a couple tonight. Estrogen being the first one. There's 3 types of estrogen: estriol, estradiol, and estrone. Our bodies make all 3 of these. And estrogen is produced in greater amounts in females, meaning men do have estrogen as well. So when you hear someone talk about the, husband that has the wife and 5 daughters and it's a house full of estrogen, that is a real thing, that women do have more estrogen than men. It is a pro-growth hormone. Estrogen makes things grow. Because its main function is growth and development, it does help prevent bone loss. So that's just a couple things on estrogen. Progesterone is the other hormone that we're going to talk about. Progesterone is a counterpart to estrogen. So it either balances out what estrogen is doing or opposes the effects of estrogen. And one of progesterone's important functions is regulating our monthly menstrual cycles. Progesterone is what makes you cycle each month. And progesterone also maintains pregnancy, promotes gestation, progesterone. That's how it got its name. And progesterone also happens to be a natural antidepressant and prevents anxiety. So in our practice, we see people supplementing with over-the-counter progesterone to help with depression and to prevent anxiety. Here is a chart that, can I move this?
Yeah, but now I can't see it. Do that first.
Sorry about that.
Click back over there.
Okay. Sorry, my technical skills aren't always right up there. Okay, so here, this slide is showing the difference between estrogen and progesterone. And you can see how everything with progesterone is either opposing or balancing out the estrogen. So estrogen builds up the uterine lining. Progesterone maintains the uterine lining. Estrogen can increase body fat. Progesterone helps us use the fat for energy. Estrogen related to depression, migraine, headaches. Progesterone, the natural antidepressant. Estrogen can interfere with thyroid, where progesterone facilitates it. Estrogen increases blood clotting. If you remember on the old package inserts for birth control, it talked about the risk of blood clotting. Progesterone, on the other hand, normalizes blood clotting. Estrogen decreases libido, restores libido. You can see how all the different things across progesterone is the opposing or balancing out the estrogen. So on the male side, they're called androgens, male hormones. They're produced in greater amounts in males. So when you hear that story about, there's the man cave and full of men and they're all watching football and it's a room full of testosterone, that's a real thing too. We as women have testosterone. Men have testosterone in greater amounts. In women, testosterone is secreted by the ovaries, and its main function is to build muscle, maintain bone density, and in women, it's responsible for sex drive and libido. DHEA is another male hormone produced by our adrenal glands, and it's converted to testosterone in women. That does not happen in men, but in women, DHEA is converted to testosterone. So what we see in our practice is women that are trying to improve their libido and sex drive will sometimes supplement with the DHEA to have it convert to testosterone in their bodies to support libido. So 4 main sex hormones we're going to talk about. Progesterone, which does what? Progestation, natural antidepressant. Estrogen, which makes things grow, the growth hormone. testosterone, responsible for sex drive and libido, and then DHEA, which is converted to testosterone in women. So what are some of the symptoms related to hormonal imbalance? If you think about the symptoms of hormonal imbalance, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Most people think of what? Hot flashes and night sweats. The symptoms are way further reaching than just simple hot flashes and night sweats. Fatigue, low libido, mood swings, irritability. How I found out I had mood swings and irritability, this is years ago. I'm 55 now. Probably 20 years ago, I was filling out a questionnaire, health questionnaire, and checking no, back then I didn't have hot flashes, don't have night sweats, no, 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 no. Mood swings, irritability, no, no, no. Well, I have my clinician slash husband slash pharmacist sitting right behind me, and he's like, wait, what about this mood swings and irritability? I'm like, I'm not irritable. Definitely related to hormones. I would get this feeling where I was, we had little kids at the time, and like where I'm just kind of flying off the handle, yelling at the kids. I know this is bad behavior. I can feel all this coming out and can't reel it back in, knowing it's not good. Irritability, mood swings, often caused by hormonal imbalance. I started supplementing with progesterone. Sophia's here, David's on the screen with us. The family will tell you, no, it didn't make it perfect, but it definitely kind of took that edge off. When I started supplementing with progesterone, I had less of a problem with the mood swings and irritability. So look at this list of symptoms. This is like way further reaching than just those few I had on the other slide. But this breaks it down by, these are symptoms related to low estrogen, the hot flashes, the night sweats, vaginal dryness, and incontinence. Vaginal dryness. We used to have a nurse that worked with us. She'd do seminars like this, and she'd get up in front of a bunch of people and start talking about vaginas and saying you either have one or you know one or you want one, and this is important information and everyone needs to understand this. And I was, in the back of the room, 30 shades of red, thinking we shouldn't be talking out loud about this. I also didn't quite understand vaginal dryness. Now it sounds like, how does that even work? It sounds like something that couldn't happen. Well, now I'm here to tell you, if you have vaginal dryness, you will know it. And it is not a pleasant condition and not something that someone should be dealing with. My experience, what I did for the vaginal dryness was a intervaginal estriol, a type of estrogen, one of the 3 types of estrogen. And if you use an inserter, it's not messy, it's not a disaster, and it greatly eliminated my problem with vaginal dryness. You know how sometimes you think about, you take a new medication or a supplement and you're like, oh, did that make a difference? Do I feel any different? Did that change anything? I can tell you it eliminated the problem for me. You take it, people do different regimens on how often you take it, but the hormone replacement with the estriol for vaginal dryness fixed that problem for me. Okay, now this one in the pink here, this is estrogen dominant symptoms, bleeding changes, uterine fibroids, water retention, tender breasts, fibrocystic breasts, increased forgetfulness, foggy thinking, tearful, depressed, and mood swings. Now, the reason they call it estrogen dominant, it doesn't necessarily mean you have too much estrogen or high estrogen. You're trying to keep these hormones in balance. So if you've got your progesterone, you've got your estrogen, you could be low on progesterone and start having symptoms of the estrogen dominance. So that's why it isn't necessarily high estrogen, but if your progesterone is low, you would get symptoms of the estrogen dominance. Let's talk about increased forgetfulness and foggy thinking. We sometimes write this off. It's like, well, that's my age and, it happens and I can't remember things. The problem I was having, I would lose pieces of a conversation. So we're having a conversation, we're going on the houseboat. Melody says, you bring hamburger, I'll bring chicken. Oh, wait, no. You bring chicken, I'll bring hamburger. And I couldn't remember how the conversation ended. And then she'd say, no, remember we talked about, and then the whole chunk of the conversation would come back. Another example, we lived right by the school. I was going to walk the kids to school. David was going to the pharmacy, and I said, oh, no, wait. don't go to the pharmacy, wait till I get home, I'll go with you. Went to the school, drop off the kids, get visiting at school, come back way later, and I'm surprised he's there. Why didn't he go to the pharmacy? And he'll say, well, remember you wanted me to wait to go with you. You wanted to go with, oh, and then like the whole chunk would come back, but I'd completely forgotten a part of that conversation. Again, once I started supplementing with progesterone, because my progesterone likely was low and estrogen was at normal levels, I had a lot less problem. Again, not perfect, but I didn't have that problem of losing conversations repeatedly. Okay, adrenal hormonal imbalance, stress, morning fatigue, where you hit the snooze, just can't get out of bed in the morning. We see a lot of difficulty sleeping, whether it's difficulty falling asleep or waking up in the middle of the night. Decreased stamina, anxious, irritable, nervous, fibromyalgia, allergies, headaches, sugar cravings, and dizzy spells. Lots of things related to your adrenals, which make the hormone cortisol, which we're going to talk about in the next section a little more in depth. Okay, thyroid, I'm just going to list these symptoms, or you can read these symptoms. We're not going to talk about thyroid, super related to the sex hormones and cortisol. A whole nother lecture. There's a lot going on with thyroid and its relation to the sex hormones, but lots of symptoms related to hormonal deficiencies. Okay, metabolic syndrome like prediabetes or high androgens. These are symptoms related to that. Acne, increased facial and body hair, scalp hair loss, weight gain in the hips, weight gain in the waist, high cholesterol, elevated triglycerides. We see a lot of scalp hair loss and thinning hair on women on the top of their heads and their scalp, sometimes related to high androgens. And then the last one, low androgens. So this is when your DHEA or testosterone are low. Decreased libido, decreased muscle size, thinning skins, ringing in ears. I wouldn't even think of that being related to hormones. Rapid aging, aches and pains, bone loss. So lots of symptoms related to hormonal imbalance. So if your hormones are not balanced for a long period of time, some of the resulting things are irregular periods and PMS. Those are early on, in our younger years related to hormonal imbalance. Fibroids in the fibrocystic breasts, endometriosis, infertility, risk of osteoporosis, and increased risk of the breast, uterine, and ovarian cancers. Menopause is an actual result of hormonal imbalance, and perimenopause. So look at these guys. The 7 menopausal dwarfs: itchy, bitchy, sweaty, bloaty, sleepy, forgetful, and psycho. And I've been told all 7 of these can be in my office on any given day. So what is actual menopause? What's the definition of menopause? It's the permanent cessation of menstruation. So you go 12 months without a period, you're said to be in menopause. And menopause is caused by the natural decline of our hormones and then the hormonal imbalance that comes from this decline. It happens to everyone. It's natural for our hormones to decline as we age. The average age of menopause in the United States is 51. I think I said I'm 55. I went into menopause at 49. Hot flashes are the most common symptom. 75% of us experience hot flashes. Conventional medicine says they usually last about 2 years, until this study came out of Harvard and was published in JAMA. Hot flashes and night sweats last about 7 years, which is a while, and something where we really need to kind of like think about, is this something I want to deal with? Is this something that's going to go away? We need to decide what we're thinking on that. Everyone has to make their own decisions on if you want to replace hormones or what you want to do and what your symptoms are. So perimenopause begins 10 to 15 years prior to menopause. So you do the math, 51 is our average age, we're looking at 36. As young as 36, people aren't often thinking about health issues related to hormonal imbalance. Perimenopause is noted by irregular periods and erratic hormone production. Both your estrogen and progesterone are changing, and progesterone is the first hormone to decline. So if progesterone is the first hormone to decline, and I'm not in menopause until I have a full 12 months without a period, you can think of your hormones declining like the gas in your gas tank. It's not like one day you have them and the next day you're in menopause. It's a process and it's over time. And if you're trying to do any kind of supplementation or replacement, you're shooting at a moving target because your hormones are declining at different rates. So how do you know if you're in menopause? I'm going to turn off the sharing the slides for a minute, and I got a quick video. There I can see all your smiling faces. I have a quick video to...
Back down to share screen and choose which one.
That's my technical sport. This is going to help you figure out if you're in perimenopause. Just a little 2-minute clip for you guys.
Now there's just one more store I'm not allowed to go into.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Hey, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm feeling like just a bit hot. Or is it hot in here?
No, I'm perfect.
Really? In that turtleneck?
I'm actually a little chilly.
Maybe I'm coming down with something.
Maybe it's perimenopause.
You think?
I don't know. Is it?
I don't know. Is it? No.
No.
I still wear a jean jacket.
Yeah.
I still drink out of a mason jar.
But you're hot for no reason, so is it?
Is it?
Is it?
No.
Maybe?
Have you read this?
I don't know. I can't remember. Maybe.
You can't remember. It's a whole book. How can you not remember reading a book? Unless it's perimenopause. Is it?
No.
No.
Is it?
I mean, it can't be.
No, it can't
But
be.
is it?
Is it? I don't know. I still get acne. I have a snowboard.
It can't be.
No.
There's no way.
No, it's not.
Is it?
Hey!
Hi.
Oh, those are super cute sunglasses.
Are they?
Yeah, they are really.
Wow, I don't even know why I did that. Sorry.
Oh, is it perimenopause?
No. Is it?
Is it perimenopause? I don't know. Do you have more underarm hair? My armpit hair got a lot thicker. Or was that on my chin?
God. Is it perimenopause?
I don't know.
Well, you should know. You're my mother.
I think it is.
It is?
Is it?
I'm the baby of the family, though.
You are?
Am I?
Oh, sweetie.
Mommy.
Have you talked to a doctor?
I can't sleep. I'm hot all the time. My moods are up and down. I burst into tears for absolutely no reason. Is it perimenopause?
No, I don't know. Is it?
What do you mean? You're my doctor. What?
Oh, it could be. There's not really much research. I mean, who really cares, right? But the one thing we do know is that it can last up to 10 years.
10 years?
Or more.
What?
Or less. I don't know what else to tell you.
I don't know. How about maybe you just tell me what's going on with my body? Anything? Is that too unreasonable a request?
Yes, it is. Definitely.
I thought they were pretty funny, and sorry I forgot to warn about the not so great language. But it's like you're not the only person going through this. If you're wondering, am I feeling crazy? That's what I had in the brochure, or the flyer when we sent out. If you're just not feeling yourself, sometimes those are things related to perimenopause. Let me go back to the slides here. Yay. So perimenopause, definite hormone imbalance, menopause, perimenopause. I want to touch on just a couple of different disease states and how they relate to menopause. First one being heart disease. So before menopause, we as women have a lower risk of heart disease than men that are the same age. After menopause, we start having an increased risk of heart disease. And low levels of estrogen after menopause, so we talked about our hormones are decreasing, pose a risk of developing disease in our smaller blood vessels. Studies have shown that estrogen replacement may reduce risk of heart disease by 50% in postmenopausal women. Definite tie, lots of data out there, lots of different studies, but definitely a tie between estrogen, heart disease, and when we have less estrogen, our risk of heart disease is at the same time, our risk of heart disease is higher after menopause, which is a time in our life when we have less estrogen. The other one I wanted to talk about is a little on breast cancer and heart disease. Heart disease is the #1 killer of women. The risk of average woman after menopause dying of heart disease is about 40%. Her risk of developing breast cancer is at most 5.5% and only a 1% chance of expiring from breast cancer. So 10 times more likely to die of heart disease than breast cancer. And the only reason I point these out is because I have had such a kind of a paradigm shift on this. My mom had breast cancer and a mastectomy. My grandma died of breast cancer. So I've always kind of had a, you know, that in the back of my mind, that's definitely in the family history. Well, and that was 22 years ago that mom was diagnosed with her breast cancer. So it's something that I've thought about for a long time, had in my head also as I'm doing hormone replacement, thinking of estrogen replacements. Now, fast forward in the last recent years, my dad has had triple bypass and a valve replacement. My brother at 56 had a heart attack, triple bypass, is waiting right now as we speak to get a valve, or not a valve, pacemaker put in, automatic defibrillator put in. It really got me thinking about heart disease and the choices I need to make when you're looking at hormone replacement and how they relate to these two disease states. And again, it's something everyone needs to make their own choices on in your own research. I just wanted to point out where I had been on that. So here we are. Are we balanced? Look at these crazy ladies. That's what people think of when they think of hormonal women at times. And I saw your smiling faces like, this is not us as a group. This is who we are. Look at these calm, beautiful, aging, perimenopausal, menopausal women. This is an individual journey. You need to think about, what are your goals? Do you want to feel better? Are you trying to alleviate symptoms? Do you want to improve your overall quality of life? Like, we're looking at where we're at on this health journey looks different for everyone. So here's the little hormone guide. This is how some survival tips for men on how to ask a woman a question. The dangerous way is to say, what's for dinner? A little safer would be, can I help you with dinner? Safest would be, where would you like to go for dinner? Ultra safe, here, have some wine. And this is my favorite one. What did you do all day? I hope you didn't overdo it today. I've always loved you in that robe. Here, have some wine. And this is like a funny thing, and you see memes and stuff like this all the time and joking about hormonal women. The one thing I do want to mention on this is that I think we've become kind of immune to this as a group, as a society. Everyone's having wine, you know, whether it's the young gals joking about mommy's sippy cup, or people my age, they're saying, you know, they can't wait to get home and have that glass of wine and take the edge off. I think if we're using, and everyone, people on here that know me know I'm always up for a good glass of wine, but if we're using the wine as a coping mechanism and something to get us through, we might want to think about if that is our best option. So what are our options for balancing your hormones? You can do nothing. If you're feeling great and not part of that 75% of us that are having hot flashes, doing nothing might be your best option. You can do hormone replacement therapy. There's conventional treatments and bioidentical treatments. We'll kind of describe both of those. And there's supplementation. So what is hormone replacement? Replacing the hormones that are missing. When we're young, our bodies are making the hormones. When you take hormone replacement, you're putting that puzzle piece back in that's now missing, and your goal is to bring the system back into balance. Conventional treatments are generally patented or synthetic type treatments. They're chemically altered from our human hormones so that the drug companies can patent these hormones. Just like I can't patent air, or I can't patent water, I can't patent estrogen. So they alter it. So the structure of the hormone that is in a conventional treatment is usually not identical in structure to the hormones that our bodies make when we're younger. An example on the estrogen side would be Premarin or Senestin. Those are two commercial traditional conventional hormone replacement therapies. On the progesterone side, Provera is a synthetic progesterone. Another option for balancing hormones are the bioidentical hormones. These are identical in molecular shape and structure to the hormones that our body makes. We like to say that they're the perfect key to unlock the body's receptor site. Just like how you can put a key in the lock and you can kind of jiggle it, jimmy it, but you can't unlock it to open the door. The bioidentical hormones are the perfect fit because they are identical in both shape and structure to the hormones that our bodies make. The bioidentical hormones are made from a variety of different sources, but usually yam or soy. And there are a couple bioidentical hormones that are available commercially. And you're thinking, well, now you just said that they can't patent them. So estrase is an estrogen type of hormone that's available, bioidentical, available, available commercially. Prometrium is on the progesterone side, but they aren't patenting progesterone, they're patenting the delivery system. So prometrium happens to be in peanut oil. So that's how the drug company can patent it. And prometrium is a bioidentical hormone, and a lot of people get a lot of relief from those types of products. Other types of bioidentical hormones are made in a lab, like ours in the compounding pharmacy, and they're individually tailored to meet your specific needs. This picture shows some examples of things that we make in the lab. These are creams. This one I was talking about, like with an applicator doing a vaginal estriol, comes like that. Capsules, these are suppositories, and these are troches. You actually break off one of these individual tabs and dissolve it between your cheek and gum. So different types of delivery systems for the bioidentical hormones. A couple more kind of technical slides here, but I'm a banker before I was in pharmacy, and this makes great sense to me, so I'm hoping these will be helpful to you. We're going to compare bioidentical progesterone versus the synthetic progestin. So two different types of progesterone. There's the progesterone, which is made by our ovaries or derived from plant sources and made bioidentical, made like what our ovaries make. Or there's a progestin, which could be derived from plant sources, but the chemical structure is different than the progesterone. So when you look at these pictures, this is natural progesterone. This is what our body makes. This is medroxyprogesterone, Provera is the brand name, and you can see that they're different. This is what our body makes. This is what the progestin, Provera product is. And this is a bioidentical hormone. So you can see that these two, this is what we make in our labs, or like that prometrium would have this identical structure. These are the same. And here's what's interesting is when you look at medroxyprogesterone, a synthetic Provera, is not progesterone. So what did we say progesterone does? Progestation. It promotes gestation, maintains pregnancy. You look at these different structures, progestins don't do any of that. A progestin has no positive effect on gestation. It doesn't do what progesterone does. In addition to not having the positive effect on gestation, it has some side effects, including bloating, depression, weight gain, hair loss, lots of unfavorable side effects, and also increased risk of breast cancer and heart disease. So the Women's Health Initiative was a study 20-ish years ago, and there were two wings to the study. So one side of the study got estrogen, the other side got estrogen and a progestin, a synthetic progesterone. They stopped that wing of the study where people were getting the progestins because those people were coming down with breast cancer. These people were being diagnosed with breast cancer, so they stopped the study. So there are side effects to the progestins. Let's talk about the difference between oral and transdermal. The transdermal estrogen, transdermal meaning you rub it on your skin, like not on your hand, but probably on your thighs would be more common. Studies have shown no risk of stroke or venous thrombosis with transdermal estrogen. This is just an estrogen cream. Oral estrogen, though, is associated with increased risk of a venous thrombosis. So this is an example of an oral estrogen. We rarely see people taking oral estrogens of the bioidentical hormones because of the no risk on the studies that show no risk of the venous thrombosis with the transdermal estrogens. Okay, but here's the word of caution, and I've just given you a bunch of things talking about, bioidentical hormones. Just because an estrogen or testosterone is bioidentical does not make it completely safe. So if I have a breast cancer that is sensitive to estrogens, bioidentical estrogens still make things grow. So it's not a more is better, it's not a go crazy with bioidenticals. You still have to, do your research, look at what's right for you, look at what the risks are. Just because it's bioidentical or someone says something's natural or bioidentical doesn't mean it's completely safe. There still are risks associated with those products. So the benefits of bioidentical hormone replacement: reduced incidence of hot flash and vaginal dryness. Yay! So those are wonderful things. Improved sleep, great. Reduced risk of depression. Improved libido, yay again. Better maintenance of muscle mass and strength. Improved cholesterol. Reduced risk of endometrial and breast cancers. Better mood, concentration, memory. Reduced risk of Alzheimer's. Reduced risk of osteoporosis and improved bone density, and few side effects. There aren't as many side effects with the bioidentical hormones. So how do you get bioidentical hormones? So progesterone is available over the counter or by prescription. We have bioidentical hormones that we make in our labs and sell over the counter just like any other supplement. When you get to estrogens or testosterones, those require a prescription. You need to work with your doctor, your nurse practitioner, PA, to get a prescription for the estrogens and testosterones. All of those require a prescription. And DHEA is available over the counter as well. It's a supplement. It comes in a lot of different strengths. People take a lot of varying doses on the DHEA. So that's a whole bunch of information on the sex hormones and bioidentical hormones. The next thing I want to share with you guys is cortisol and how adrenal fatigue relates to this. Cortisol is a steroid hormone produced in our adrenal glands, and it's called the stress hormone. So in times of stress, our adrenal glands produce cortisol. When our body is producing cortisol and you're in a time of stress, your body shuts down other functions that you don't need in the moment of stress, such as digestion and reproduction. The functions of cortisol are controlling our blood sugar, regulating metabolism, reducing inflammation. When you think about so many disease states and challenges people have with their health that are related to inflammation, cortisol helps reduce inflammation, also assists with memory function. They call cortisol your fight or flight hormone because it's produced during times of stress. And it shuts down, like I said, body systems that you don't need in times of stress. This is an example I like to give. So this is the lion chasing the zebra. So a lion's chasing the zebra. Zebra's trying to get away. Zebra's running. Two ways the story can end. Zebra gets away, goes and lays down in a cave or a field, wherever it is zebras go to replenish, rebuilds its cortisol. The time of stress is over. Its reproductive system, digestive system starts working again. All is good. Lion catches zebra, kills zebra. It doesn't matter if its hormones are balanced. It doesn't matter. The catch with this scenario, that's fine in the zebra world. When we get to our woman world, we never go and lay down in the cave. We run our stressful lives, and times of stress continuously, and that's why it's so common, why we see it so frequently in our practice, that so many people have adrenal fatigue and their cortisol is mixed up and their body can't keep up with normal cortisol production. And this is what normal cortisol production looks like. It's high in the morning, you have energy, it gets you up, you're ready to go, the alarm goes off, you start your day, your cortisol comes down, it's calming in the evening, it's low at night. It lets you go to sleep at bedtime and sleep through the entire night. I used to have a little quiz or a polling question in here to see who slept through the night, and lots of people do not sleep through the night. Is this familiar to anyone? It's a brain at 3 a.m. I can see you're trying to sleep, so I'd like to offer you a selection of every memory, unresolved issue, or things you should have said or done today or in the last 40 years. Like, this is so common for women to wake up, and men, but especially women to wake up, you know, that 2, 3 a.m. wake up call, and your mind is racing through all these things that you're trying to solve and do and get rid of and issues. That's high cortisol. Oftentimes it's waking you up. So how does the cortisol affect our bodies? Well, this is what I'm talking about, our stressful lives. Experienced heightened stress levels for expanded periods of time. Chronic stress, like this is how we run. I look at who's on here. I know some of you. I mean, we have big jobs, we have families, we have kids, we have adult kids, we have aging parents. We're running our churches, our families, our communities. Like it's a lot. And sometimes our body can't keep up with that. Overproduction of cortisol can inhibit the production of insulin, which impacts blood sugar. We all know we want our blood sugar balanced, or you're going to have problems with weight gain, type 2 diabetes, metabolic syndrome, prediabetes, syndrome X. These are all related to our cortisol. And here, this is just some of these like statistics, the impact of stress. 40% of us report our jobs as either very or extremely stressful. Tons of doctors' visits are for stress-related issues. The stress is a factor in 5 out of 6 of the leading causes of death. Workers missing work because of stress. But here's the problem. We're treating the symptoms of the stress, the heart disease, diabetes, stroke, high blood pressure, all of these, instead of the cause, which is the stress itself. Okay. Ways to cope with stress. This slide is worth the price of admission and totally new things and ideas you will never have heard or seen of before. So we could eliminate stress, which sounds easy. What stressful situations can you avoid? You know, quit your job, whatever that looks like. But truly, we all know we really need coping mechanisms. But I will say one thing on the practice no, saying no and letting go. And I don't know if this is just like being older now, has become so much easier for me. My typical response, it used to be anytime there was a volunteer thing, you know, someone wants you to do this or bring this here or take a meal, whatever it is, I would do it. Of course I would do it because like we're all those helping kind of people. But now I would just tell people, no, you know, I have my volunteer work at church and I'm involved with Care Chest. And I know there's people out there that don't have those volunteer activities. And I would hate to take that opportunity from one of them. I'm not that gal. I will not be the volunteer hog. No, thank you. Move on. No stress, no guilt. We can say no. Like we think we don't have control over eliminating stress in our lives, but once you become really intentional about it and thinking about how you're spending your time, we do have some control. Another thing is to change our response to stress. Okay, so we've decided like we're going to have stress, there's stress. How can we change our response? Lots of stress reduction techniques, time away and downtime. One of our gals at work took a 2-week vacation last summer and had never taken that much vacation, you know, all in one block, and said, oh, if you have that much time, she highly recommended it, and unplugging for an amount of time. Prayer and meditation are huge in relaxing our brains and putting us in a state of calm and peace. Breath, rest, relaxation techniques. And I love this one. Socializing and humor, that can be good for my health is a really encouraging thing. And then we can prepare our bodies for stress. We can eliminate what we can, change how we respond to it, and then prepare them. And how we prepare our bodies for stress is lifestyle changes. Adequate increased activity and exercise. We all know we need our exercise, and adequate sleep. Like when's the last time I really concentrated on getting adequate sleep? I was in college and, you know, your mom's asking you, oh, honey, are you getting enough sleep? And then you're like running crazy. And I was a bank auditor and working nights and are you getting enough sleep? And then came babies. Oh, honey, are you getting enough sleep? And then we were buying more pharmacies. Honey, are you getting enough sleep? Like we all know this. We know what we need to do. We know we need activity. We know we need sleep, but actually being intentional in doing it is sometimes a more challenging thing. And then there's also supplementation. We can use supplements to help our bodies cope with the stress. So this is our typical adrenal support supplementation protocol. The first product is adrenal support product, which is a mushroom-based product that helps your adrenals function better. The second one is an adrenal rebuilder. It's a glandular product, and what this does is it actually, the glandular product is like putting cortisol in your body. So your body doesn't have to work so hard to make so much cortisol. This is where by supplementing, your body might have time to catch up. Third thing is vitamin C powder, affectionately called poop powder. It has an added benefit besides immune system and besides supporting your adrenals. It can keep you regular. And then the last product is Cerephos. And this product contains the phosphorylated serine, which is something that drives your cortisol down at night. So if you're someone that's having trouble getting to sleep at night, we might have you take the Cerephos at supper time. If you're someone that's waking up in the middle of the night, we might have you take the Cerephos at bedtime, depending on what you're trying to accomplish or when you're having problems with sleep patterns. But oftentimes these sleep irregularities are related to our cortisol levels and our adrenals. One other thing, this is probably not such a common thing, but my experience with doing the adrenal protocol, and I've done this many times throughout the years, stressful things with kids, buying the next pharmacy, whatever it might be, aging parents. I've been through this protocol more than once in my life, and it has helped me get over that. Hitting the snooze thing gave me energy in the morning. But recently, probably about 3 years ago, I was having a real hard time with hot flashes at night. And that's like a whole nother conversation with the clinician pharmacist husband next to me. We hear stories all the time in the pharmacy of women that are having night sweats where like their nightie is soaking and they're putting towels, behind them on the bed because they're so wet. I wasn't having those night sweats. I was having hot flashes at night, but I was so desperate and they were so annoying. David and my hormone levels were in order, and my estrogens, progesterone. So David said, I wonder if it's your adrenals. And I committed to doing this adrenal protocol, supplement replacement for my adrenals, and it involved taking a supplement at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. And those of you that know me know I can take supplements morning and night and be right on it, but I can't do a midday. That's too much. I literally set my alarm. If you were in a meeting with me, you saw me say, oh, it's supplement time, and took the supplements. But for me, doing the adrenal rebuilding protocol helped my hot flashes. Didn't make them go away completely, but way less frequent and way less intense. None of this, fanning the nightie at night because of the hot flashes. So that helped me, and we see people get relief from this protocol or something similar. Okay, so hormone testing. If we're going to be looking at all these hormones, we probably want to know where our hormones are at. So how do we test them? Different ways. Blood serum or a blood spot test is still the gold standard. Most practitioners use blood tests to test hormones. You can also look at them in urine, and we test them using saliva. You can see the gal is like literally spitting in a tube. You collect saliva in a tube, put it in the little tubes, mail it off to the lab with that health questionnaire I was talking about, checking off what your symptoms are. And then the saliva test will come back to the pharmacy, and it'll give you ranges like this. It'll tell you, here's my estradiol was at 5.4. Well, I don't know what that means. What should it be? And it gives you a range, tells you what's high and what's low. And a pharmacist can go over this with you, but it gives you an idea where you're at. If you start doing some sort of hormone, either whether it's supplementation or actual prescriptions, you probably want to keep an eye on where you're at. We recommend doing a saliva test, annually, like you do a blood test. See where your levels are at. You don't want to go overshooting your physiological levels and missing the mark by a long ways. Keeps a track of where you're at. Here is a slide that shows cortisol and how your cortisol comes back. This is a 4-point test. You literally spit in the tube morning, noon, evening, and night, and it shows where you're at. This person happens to be low on all of these. Green is normal, so they're fine in the morning. These low ones, this is probably someone that comes home from work 4 or 5 o'clock and needs to take a nap in the chair before you go and make dinner. Like that's what happens with the low cortisol, between 5, 6 o'clock, 4, 5, 6 o'clock. What we often see is this night one high on people that can't get to sleep. That night cortisol can be high. Okay, few related considerations. I know we've covered a lot of information, but I just want to give you guys a quick blurb and touch on these things. Before you do any kind of supplementation like this, look at your gut. Broad sweeping generalization. Most people need a good probiotic. If your gut health, flora, bacteria is not healthy, any kind of supplementation you do or hormone replacement, your body might have trouble absorbing it and working properly. We need to make sure your gut is in good order before you do this. Thyroid, completely related to your hormones. You need to talk with your doctor or practitioner and make sure that the mix is right. Insulin resistance, metabolic syndrome, we see a lot of the pre-diabetes, we see a lot of this, very related to your hormones. Vitamin D3, we've talked about this for years. You might be seeing some stuff in the press about it lately because the immune boosting properties of vitamin D3, inexpensive supplement and a lot of benefits. We put most people on a vitamin D3. In general, again, big generalization, we see a lot of people with low vitamin D3 levels. We don't get enough of it from our food in the sun. Weight management, again, this is the stuff that mom has told us. We know we got to manage this. I happen to like Weight Watchers, you know, pick and choose. There's a variety of programs, diets out there, whatever works for you. But if your weight is fluctuating or we're way overweight, that big impact on your cortisol and other hormones as well. CBD oil. We see a lot of people in our practice using CBD oil for the pain, anxiety, and stress. People usually look for a full spectrum or THC free. Literally, it seems like everyone and their grandma and their dog is on this now. We cannot sell it in our pharmacies because of our state regulations, but something to be aware of and paying attention to on health thing. And similar to the CBD oil, low dose naltrexone. Naltrexone is the drug that is the antidote to an overdose, but we're seeing a lot of people using it in low doses for a myriad of different health conditions, whether it's depression or lots of the inflammatory diseases, all those disease states. Just a couple things that are relatively new and we see a lot of information on, all relating into your hormones. Okay, we're almost wrapped up here. Action steps. Here's what we can do. Where do I start? This is your first step. Talk to your doctor, talk to your nurse practitioner, talk to your PA, whoever it is you go to, talk to them. Talk to your pharmacist. You've got to get the dialogue going between all three of you. That you're coming to the seminar is like a great first step in educating yourself to know where to start and what questions to ask. Very first thing is to get to your healthcare provider. And our pharmacists will answer questions as well. You might want to do a saliva test. Some people start with some sort of supplementation just based on symptoms, starting with something over the counter. But maybe you want to do a saliva test and actually find out where your hormone levels are at. You will need a prescription. So you need to, again, you're starting with your practitioner, but you might need to go back to your practitioner because like we said, you're going to need a prescription for any of the estrogens or testosterones if that's the route you go. We have the over-the-counter products. There's different supplements. You can get the DHEA and the progesterones over-the-counter as well as the adrenal support products. And here's the big one, follow-up and persistence. I can't stress this enough. And right or wrong, this is how our healthcare system works. My doctor, I go to a nurse practitioner who happens to be a friend. She doesn't have the luxury of time to call up and say, oh, how are you doing? How'd that work for you? She's making recommendations with the hope and assumption that I'm going to get back to her if something isn't right. So the people that, you know, don't be afraid of being the frequent flyer or the person that always is calling the pharmacy, always calling the doctor. The gals that do the best with this kind of stuff are the ones that take charge and manage your health. You're the one that knows how you feel. You're the one that knows what the goals are. You're the one that knows what you're trying to accomplish by whatever it is that you're trying. So follow-up and persistence is super important when you're doing any of these, whether it's a supplementation or prescriptions. And here is what we can offer you to get you started on this is we're offering up a free 15-minute consultation with our pharmacist, Mariana. She's going to be available to answer questions here as we wrap up. But normally a consultation with Mariana is $150, and we're offering you a 15-minute kind of a mini consultation for free. I am going to ask that you either email or call her. If you could call her at the office tomorrow, that would be great. It's Mariana, M-A-R-I-A-N-A, at sierrafamilyrx.com, or you can call 853-3500. and take her up on this offer. Like she'll get you pointed in the right direction. You can make those decisions about, you know, should I talk to my practitioner? Should I try something over the counter? You know, what are you trying to accomplish? In 15 minutes, she might be able to get you really kind of pointed in the right direction on that. So in summary, okay, we talked about hormones: estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, DHA, and cortisol. The estrogen does what? Makes things grow. Progesterone promotes gestation. Testosterone, libido and sex drive in women. DHEA converts to testosterone in women. Cortisol, stress hormone, it's the fight or flight. Symptoms, I think we all know what our symptoms are and what we're trying to deal with. Options, some of the options for balancing your hormones: bioidentical hormone replacement or supplementation. We talked about cortisol and adrenal fatigue and how they're so interrelated, and some of the stress reduction techniques, or maybe supplementation to deal with that. And hormone testing, the saliva testing is what we offer at the pharmacy. And then your action steps: talk to your practitioner, maybe do a saliva test, talk to Mariana, do the free consultation, and follow-up. Your follow-up and persistence, people want to help you, and they're going to be able to help you get to that wellness goal quicker if you're following up and making contact with them. So I'm going to leave this slide up here so you guys can see Mariana and get that phone number if you want it.